This week you get to be the king, but it's at a very heavy price.
All right, you beautiful bastards, toast me! Woo! There we go.
All right, guys, I got an email with a riddle I had not seen before. The King of All Lands.
Pretty big king.
It's a pretty cool title, right? The King of Everywhere is hosting the largest party ever to happen. So he invites 1,000 of his most loyal survivors, but makes
Survivors?
Did I say survivors?
Are they on
Also,
an island?
he killed everyone else. I forgot to mention that part.
He's the king of all lands, and he killed everyone.
Because he killed everyone.
He's a megalomaniac.
There's only one land now. The king is having a shindig. He gets 1,000 advisors. Everybody has to bring a bottle of wine. But he finds out that one of the advisors is plotting to kill him and has poisoned the wine. It's super deadly, okay? One drop of it, you're done.
Iocane wine.
So you got 1,000 guests, you got 1,000 bottles of wine, you got a party that must happen. He has 10 prisoners that he doesn't mind killing. How does he figure out which bottled wine is poisoned? Now, keep in mind, it is a slow-acting poison. And we'll say there's 3 days until the big shindig. If you get one drop of this poison, 2 days later, you immediately drop down dead. So it's not like you can just give everyone a sip and then figure it out. Before you ask, it's not allowed to throw out the wine. That's perfectly good wine.
Well, yeah.
You're like, that's the most obvious part of this puzzle, Brian. I don't understand.
Son.
You serve whiskey like it's a real party.
So we've narrowed this down to 100 bottles of wine.
Have we?
Yes.
Oh, if I understand correctly, you're saying take the 1,000 bottles of wine,
Correct.
make everybody take a sip of 100 apiece, and then you know which
Within
range.
2 days, you'll know 100 bottles.
Okay.
And you'll have one dead prisoner.
Okay, so you at least have 900 bottles of wine you could serve at the
Correct.
party at that point. So that gets us to 900 bottles of wine. Taking that one step farther, you could divide it 11 ways, and then if somebody dies, you know that batch of 1/11th, right?
I
and
see
then,
your
and if
point. I see
everybody
your
lives,
point. I
then
see
you
your
know,
point.
yeah, that's even closer. That gets us closer
Because
to like
it's-
a bunch of
Right,
batches
yeah,
of
so you
91
have
or so.
Correct.
Okay.
I see your point.
All right. What do you got,
I
Murphy?
like where you're going there.
Nothing. I have nothing at all.
I'm drunk on wine.
No, I'm trying to think around it because you were giving some details that were not in the original riddle.
Because the most obvious thing to do is to take one prisoner and just have him have a sip of wine until he encounters the poison one and instantly
Well,
dies.
no, he can't because you got to wait for 2 days.
That's
Right.
right. That was a detail I added. That
Right,
was on me.
exactly.
Yes.
You were anticipating what questions and solutions we were going to ask
Correct,
that you knew
correct.
was incorrect.
Correct.
Theoretically, if you give one prisoner 1,000 sips of wine, he might die of alcohol poisoning.
Well, only a drop.
Okay.
Only a drop.
We have to try.
Okay, try.
Where's the wine?
You know, I'm behind you 100%.
So far, we started off with the ability to serve 900 good bottles of wine.
Yep.
We got up to 910-ish, or I can't do math. But how do we get to knowing for a fact the one single poison
Yeah, so we
wine?
can go string up that one advisor who's a bastard.
I mean, he just won't be invited to the party.
You're a really generous and not a vindictive ruler at all.
I'm king of all lands. That's what I do.
So theoretically, there's maybe an orchestration you could do. You shuffle the wines and are giving multiple drops of all the wines or to ones of different prisoners.
All right, go on. It feels like you're putting it together. This is, he's entering programmer mode. Watch.
Mother. We're essentially treating these prisoners like non-persons.
Yes, they're all about to be dead. We just get to make them dead.
I'm
in
uncomfortable
ways.
with the whole setup, but okay.
This whole episode, we just debate the merits of the capital punishments.
In the original breakdown, you're like, okay, each prisoner gets 100 bottles of wine tasted to them, and you have 900 clear of one prisoner who's
Even
dead.
if it's, but we can just give them a drop.
Well, yeah,
And it doesn't really
the
matter.
amount
It
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter.
But maybe you could do something else where perhaps you turn it on its head and you kill 9 prisoners and leave one alive. That would let you figure out which bottle is the one.
What if the scenario was slightly different? What if instead of 1,000 bottles of wine, what if I told you it was 1,024 bottles of wine and you still had 10 prisoners and you could still solve it?
So what, a K of wine?
Yeah.
So a base 16 trick?
This is my favorite part, when people get engaged enough and interested enough to solve it that they stopped bothering to look good on camera.
Yeah.
And instead they're
All right,
all
what
like,
did we
hold
say?
on. But I think you guys can solve this one. I'm rooting for you at this point.
If it's 1024, you divide by 10, not quite base 16.
Right.
I think you're walking right past it. I can't believe this. I thought for sure you guys would get this. What is the relationship between 1024 and the number 10?
24.
You're not wrong.
I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry.
Did you know that 1024 is 2 to the 10th power?
It is.
Anyway,
Did you know that I've been drinking for the last 7 hours?
I'm with him.
letting you off the hook. The answer is, and you're gonna be mad, you label each of the bottles with their binary number and you give samples to each of the prisoners based on it. So instead of bottle number 723, it becomes 1011010011. And you give it to the first, the third, the fourth, the 6th, and the 9th and 10th prisoner. And then if that combination, if that configuration are the ones that die 2 days later, you know that it's bottle 723.
Yes, I get it.
You guys seem disappointed.
That's actually very clever.
That is clever. I totally get it. You're gonna need to do some really good on-screen overlay bullshit on this one, by the way.
No, you don't. It's so simple though.
I totally get where you're going. I see the problem. 99% of the people out there not gonna see the
Well,
solution.
I disagree. In fact, I think they're all screaming at you right now that you didn't figure it out. So shame on you guys. How about
Yeah.
that? First and foremost, got to give a huge thanks to Moose Barrel for sending this in. And remember, all the best ideas come from you guys. Hit me up with your favorite bar scam, magic trick, or any logic puzzle at brian@schwood.com. And of course, we should be BFFs over at twitter.com/schwood. There is no C in Schwood. And while you're clicking stuff, head on over to youtube.com/modernrogue, where Jason Murphy and I are on a quest to become the ultimate gentleman, warrior, and scoundrel. I did not think it was possible, but it turns out you're the bigger asshole in this story.
How dare you?
I
lost my cousin.
He only has 10 disposable prisoners. They're all bad people. I just realized, like, all I can do is water into dangerous territory. I'm king of all lands. That's what I do.